Hi, everybody. Welcome back to TV 15's coverage of Muskogee Ruffers football. I'm Bill Huddleston, along with the coach of the Ruffers, Rafe Watkins. Coach, you've had that smile on your face since last Friday night. Ruffers went out and got things started and finished strong. Came away from homecoming, no injuries, and week number 2 win in district play.
Well, the most important things being 2-0, as you said, did get our 15 points this week and just getting homecoming over with, the things that you always worry about as a coach. But what a great crowd, by far. In the 2 years or year and a half that I've been here, that's the best crowd we've had yet. Good, loud, came early, just a tremendous atmosphere. And the kids played really hard. Come out and took the ball down first thing and scored. Played pretty good defensively in the first half. But the second half, we challenged our offensive linemen at halftime. We had 21 points. We only scored 21 in the second half also, but it was the way we were able to do it. Instead of having to get the deep pass or the big trick play or something, we come out and just gave them a steady dose of mo, and it was due to that offensive line finally shoving them off the ball.
Yeah, I was going to ask, that was a kind of a hi, how we doing? Just a real friendly type conversation in the locker room at halftime, or somebody maybe opened a can of paint or struck a match?
Probably most of the mamas is glad that they went in here and they're getting to talk, their boys talk to that. I know there's one at my house that would not like to hear how her baby was being talked to.
So, and absolutely, the phones were turned off so that there was no video or audio of that halftime discussion. But it paid off because you saw a different ball club. You saw a team that has been hiding inside the hearts of the players, and they came out and controlled both sides of the line of scrimmage and allowed the defense to give the offense chance. And when the offense got the ball, whether it was, like you said, another dose of Elijah Gilbert, who had close to another 200-yard game, or whether it was Quintaj Cherry running as well as throwing, and the receivers making all the catches and the defensive guys making all the stops, it was just kind of a game that you would draw it up.
Our most complete game as a team.
Coach, we got some highlights in the ball game, and right out of the get-go, Coach Madrano goes to the hip pocket.
This is one of our favorite plays. I've used it for about 20 years. We just call it 19 woof, and usually it's a touchdown. We let it develop a little too fast and got a good completion out of it, and then we get a smash right there to Jeremiah Madrano for a touchdown. Coming out here early, our defense was swarming the ball. They did go down and score in the first series, but other than that, we shut them down until I think there was, about 30 seconds left in the game. There's Elijah again. As you said, he had around 185 yards. There's Cameron, who will be our guest today. And
he found his way to the end zone.
Had a great game on both sides of the ball again. The Sapulpa game, he had a tremendous defensive game, but here the other night, he had very good offensively as well. Jeremiah with another catch. I thought Q threw the ball really well again, had over 200 yards. Here's to Jamari, and again, that guy just keeps
one step
impressing.
Means 6 points.
He has done a very good job this year, and we need him big in the second half of the season, and I don't see any reason why he's not. But well-thrown ball, and here we got a great block. There's Cameron again, diving, coming at the point where they're aiming, and very proud of him in that play as well. Elijah, this is the start of the second half, I believe, where we had challenged the line, if you noticed there, and it's hard can't go back and look, but you and I would have got 7 yards on that because of just the surge of what the offense.
Well, there was one touchdown. I don't know if we've got it in the highlights or not. I think I could have scored because the offensive line going into that north end zone just parted the green seas, is the way I called it on the broadcast, and Mo just virtually walked into the end zone. But here's a nice stop and then a comeback, and again,
right before that was our 4th and 5 play, where that was just a challenge to our linemen. It's 4th and 5. We're going to get in that jumbo set, or as our Kong set, as we call it, and just run Elijah on the sweep and see if we could get in. And they pushed him out, and he scored from 10 out. So
here's one of the 3 interceptions that Trayvon Hughes had on the night. What a night for him! Yeah,
this one's comical from the fact that we get. If you were there, you saw we had 3 different clips, I think, on this, or blocking the back. This one old boy down here is without a hat and everything. I told him, I said, I wish we would have got one more clip so you'd had to take your shirt off and throw it, because there was laundry all over the field on that play. There's the second one, and actually had the first one right before halftime.
Really good coverage. I mean, he got to the ball player, the receiver, and defended it just like you teach.
Our secondary, between, of course, Trayvon had the 3 interceptions, but Crazy Legs, as we call him,
Devin
McCoy, he had a great game as well the other night, and we're back to the top.
Yeah, back to the top and the little out of the hip pocket type situation. But, Coach, overall, like you said, a complete ball game. Offense offense, defense, and special teams, something that I know also was a point of emphasis.
It is, and Coach Denton's been pulling his hair out, what little bit he's got left on it, and it's been tough, but we have some young kickers, and we're putting some young kids on those special teams, and they, like I said, they had by far their best game, and we need it now because now we're into the meat of the schedule. For the next 5 weeks, we got the number 1, 2, 3, and 5 team in the state, and our district, and in the state of 6A too, and so we'll see how we go. This week we got Bartlesville, and we'll talk about them shortly, but very good football team.
Very good football team. That'll be a little bit later on in our program. When we come back, one of the guys that you saw making some of those special plays, Cameron Curl, will be our guest when Rougher Football continues here on TV 15. Hi everybody, welcome back here on TV 15. This segment, each week we give you a chance to meet another one of the Roughers. And Coach, this guy in between us may need an introduction, but to your opponents, he certainly gets a lot of attention on game film.
Well, Cameron's one of those young men that never comes off the field for us. He's on offense and defense. There's no telling how many miles he runs during the course of a game, covering DBs, and then running every route for us. So had a great season so far. Has had a pick 6 against Sapulpa. Got some touchdown passes in the games, and just doing a great job for us overall.
Of course, we're talking about Cameron Curl, who, like Coach mentioned, is a two-way player. Actually, probably never comes off the field. Cam, do you have one of those watches that counts your steps each and every day?
No, but
have you ever thought about how many steps? Look at the camera now. Have you ever thought how many steps you would make in a day, or how many yards you would run in the course of a ball game?
I mean, probably more than I can count.
Well, so in other words, what you're trying to tell me is math is not your favorite class here at Muskogee High School?
No.
What would that be?
Probably my speech class.
Speech class, because you talk a little noise out on the field during the ball game?
Yeah.
Now, as a defensive back, what are you watching for each and every snap?
I'm watching for the end man on the line of scrimmage to tell me if it's a run or a pass.
And how do you decide to flip that switch, whether to come in and try to take somebody out, because we've seen some of those, or whether you're able to drop back and from your safety position, close pass to the ball, pick it, and as you did at Sapulpa, take it to the house?
Well, I mean, if it's a down block, then I feel fast, and if it's a hot hat, I get back into my coverage area.
Yeah, obviously, Coach, he's doing his game film study, and he's got all the terminology down. He acts like he's preparing to be a coach.
Yeah, well, he might be.
He's kind of a coach out there on the field, but this is kind of a unique secondary, because between you and Tavian and then you throw in Devin McCoy and the other guys out back there in the backfield, you guys have a kind of a communication signal between the two of you, or four of you, that you know who's got to be where?
Yes, yeah, we have a bunch of signals for our plays and stuff.
Now, do you have a particular favorite side of the football that you enjoy most, offense or defense?
I like being on the opponent's side, hearing them talk trash to me, and when I make a big play, and they be quiet. So.
Now, how much fun was it when you stole that pass and wiggled your way between defenders and found your way to the end zone against Sapulpa?
It was pretty fun.
All right. Well, obviously, this young man still got a lot of opportunities ahead of him, Coach. It's nice to have an underclassman with this young man's abilities.
He does. He has great size, and runs well, can jump, and does a little bit of everything. But I think in Sapulpa, we're talking about the pick 6. But
right.
To me, maybe the best play is when the guy was coming across the middle and he hit him and jarred the ball loose, and also caused him to have his helmet off. So it was a great play. It was done with his shoulder and didn't lead with the head. Did everything textbook, and so that was maybe my favorite play of the Sapulpa game over the pick 6 even.
How hard is that, Cam, to remember to lead with the shoulder and not get that headgear in there and risk injury to yourself, or risk the possibility of getting that little yellow flag?
I mean, it's kind of hard, but you just got to train yourself in the leading with your shoulder so you don't get those 15 yards.
Obviously, this young man has kind of had the credentials. We've seen his development in the youth leagues here in Muskogee. He played in an All-American youth game, I think, as an 8th grader. Now he's doing big things for the Roughers each and every Friday night. His name is Cameron Curl. Don't forget that KC, Cameron Curl, making one of the hero plays each and every week for the Muskogee defense as well as offense, or any other place that Coach and the assistants decide to put him out there. When we come back, we'll take a look at this week's opponent, Bartlesville, week number 3 of district play. That after this time out here on TV 15. Back here on TV 15, Coach, we're undefeated in district play. And that's really all that matters. 2-0, but now another big step against a very good football team, Bruins of Bartlesville.
Well, last year Bartlesville was the team that knocked us out of going to the playoffs. We were at this point last year 2-0. They, on the other hand, were 0-2. They had got beat by Sand Springs and Bixby this year. They've turned it around. They're also 2-0 now, ranked second in the state with the big win over number 1 Bixby. And they're flying high on all cylinders over there. Their offense is probably as good as we've seen this year, other than possibly Fayetteville. They're very similar in how they spread you out. They got a very good running back. The quarterback, it's just hard to explain him. He's one of those that he just makes things happen with his feet instead of his arm. It's not that he's running, but he'll buy time. His line looks great just because of the fact that he uses them. He'll shield, he'll scramble out of the pocket, and that's how he hurt us last year, is scrambling out of the pocket and making buying time for him. He's got 2 outstanding receivers. One, unfortunately, that came on the scene last week, a big junior, had over 180 yards of receiving against Bixby. At number 11, he's a dandy, and then they got the number 10 that was their top receiver coming back, the Parker kid, and it's a 6'8" high jumper, 49 quarter kid, outstanding athlete, good tailback. And then they've got the big kid over on defense at defensive end, number 81, who is a Division I recruit also. So they're making a lot of headway with about 5 or 6 kids over there. Their lines are solid, they're big kids, but those 6 really make them go, and just a tremendous, when you score 50 points on Bixby, I know Bixby's lost a lot of kids from last year, but they're still a very good program, and they scored 50 points on them.
And came from a 21-7 deficit.
It was a 21-7 deficit, and it was kind of their defense that put them back in. They had a pick 6 that made them 21-14 and got them back in the game, but then the offense took over, and I think we're in a good position, though, because they're going to live off that big win this week. Everybody's excited over there.
Sure.
They're being told how great they are, and they are. They're very good, and the Tulsa paper, I noticed yesterday, had already put down, it's looking for, in 2 weeks, having a 1-2 showdown with Booker T, but kind of forgetting about us in there. I hope we have something to do about it. I hope they're still not ranked second when we get through, but it comes at a good time. As I said, that they may be overlooking us, and I'd love to repay them for keeping us out of the playoffs last year.
Well, one thing about it, after this week's done, pretty good chance that there'll only be 2 teams at the top of the race heading into the final part of the season, and Ruffers, I know, want to be part of those, and it's really more not just about what Bartlesville does, but it's about, like you've always said, take care of our business.
That's all we can do. That's the only thing that we control is what we do. If we go out and execute on offense, we've got a few new wrinkles for this week that I think it'll be very glaring that what we're doing different. And then defensively, they've got a huge challenge in front of them of stopping the quarterback and tailback that Bartlesville has in their overall game of wide open football, just again like Bartlesville played, or like Fayetteville played. And if we get a few stops in there, I think we've got an outstanding chance of upsetting them.
Going on the road again, and Coach, I know you feel comfortable about this team being road tested, because certainly being gone for a month before last week coming home for homecoming gives you kind of that feeling that, hey, we can go play wherever you turn on the lights.
Right, and it's not always bad to get our guys away from, girlfriends, parents, and other stuff, and get them focused. If they're on that bus, they can't be out anywhere else. So it's not always a bad thing to go on the road.
Well, we'll find out what happens to the Ruffers in week 3. Hopefully when Coach and I are talking to you next week, it's still unbeaten 3-0 with another win, as the Ruffers will travel to Bartlesville. Speaking of the road game, if you can't for some reason make it to Custer Stadium, remember you can always watch as well as listen to the game each and every week on RougherTV with myself, Nick Hampton, and the outstanding TV crew of RougherTV. For head coach Rafe Watkins and our guest this week, Cameron Curl, I'm Bill Huddleston saying so long, and as always, it's a great day to be a Rougher.